baby soft.
It's nice. Hello. I hope you can see us or hear us or anything. Anybody out there?
I gotta give them a minute.
I always wonder if anybody's ever here or if you got any questions.
You asked that.
So far we have 0
You legit
people.
ask that every single time we go
No,
live.
it's good. Oh, we got one person. Can you hear us okay?
Three.
Three
We're up to
people.
3.
Let us know. Can you see and hear us all right?
4. We're up to 4.
What's he saying?
See here. You really can't read your own computer
It's
screen?
too far away.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, I got contact lenses. This one reach close. This one reach far, and this one reach close.
So like cover your close eyeball.
Oh.
Here from Alabama.
Uh-huh.
Nice if we can hear us. That's fun.
They just said yes.
Well, because you only asked them one question. The only thing you asked was, can you hear us?
Okay.
Apparently, this new year has not been kind to me.
No, it's not been good for me.
Well, I guess.
Well, hope everybody had a good holiday. Let's see. Last time we did this, it was the beginning of. No, we did it the week before Christmas.
Yeah, we did it the week before Christmas.
So hope everybody had good holidays for Christmas or whatever you celebrate during that time, and and New Year's. We had made big plans for our New Year's. We decided we have a bunch of young.
You have 6 grandkids.
6 grandkids are
under
like
the age of
3. How old is Briggs?
4.
Oh, I was 4. So anyway, and so it kind of gets a little noisy, and there's kind of hectic going on. So we had planned on. I reserved the church house so we could go over there on January the 1st and have it in the afternoon, like at 2:00, and go till like 6 or something till it gets dark, and then go outside and shoot some fireworks and stuff. So that was the plan, and so we were doing sliders and all sorts of stuff, and we went over, and we had gone over to the church on Sunday before to go to church, of course, and the furnace wasn't working. So we were sitting in the chapel and in our heavy coats and blankets that we could pull out of the car, and it was like 50 degrees in the chapel, something like that, and the primary room was like 45 or something like that. And so the bishop, when we were done with sacrament meeting, said, everybody just go home and enjoy the day as a family and think about Christ and stuff like that. So we did that. So I was crossing my fingers that the furnace would be working the next day on January the 1st, which is when our family party was. And we went over and checked it out at about noonish, 12:30, and it was like 45 degrees in there. It was cold. So we had it at the house and had chaos and everything. But it turned out really well. Each family brought games for us to play with the kids, and they had a blast. Then we went out and did fireworks at like 6:00 at night. Then they went home. That was the best part. They didn't stay around till midnight or 1:00 in the morning or whatever.
Well, they all got bedtimes at like 8.
Yeah. So it was good. So I hope you had good holidays, and I hope everybody's doing well. And thanks for joining us and coming back.
Yep. So let's see. We have Brian is with us from Colorado.
Oh, welcome. It's colder over there. Yeah.
I was just there this morning.
Yeah, it's cold. Colorado's colder.
Shauna from St. George.
Warm down there in the 60s, I think. Or no, they're getting kind of in the 40s.
They're cooler right now. We got Norman and Susan Adkins. They're from Wallace, North Carolina.
They got to be freezing.
That's good.
Because like that east is all like iced.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but ice. Frozen tundra right now.
Rob in Alaska says it was 42 degrees outside.
Oh, well, Alaska's comfortable, but New York is 10 degrees below zero or something like that.
My husband's in Minneapolis, and it's like -11 or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
Ohio is -15. Oh my goodness.
-15. So the cold is
Bundle up.
Yeah, the cold we usually get is now over there on your side. So we appreciate it, but we do want some of our snow back because we don't have very much snow right now.
We've had one snowstorm.
Yeah, we need more, or we're not going to have any water for summer. So.
True.
All right, well, let's get started. We did put a little questionnaire, a little post out there earlier about how you would like this format. We've been doing submitted questions, first come, first serve, and then last time we thought we'd mix it up a little bit, and we did. I guess we're on the Facebook displaying since they're commenting.
Yes.
Last time we did a live. We just answered questions as they were coming in, and
We filled in
taking
with
it.
some.
And then if there was a little slack in there where people didn't have questions, we'd pick up some of the submitted ones. So we put a post in there, so please respond to the post. We're asking if maybe we should split it half. Let me know. We're probably going to do 30 to 45 minutes of submitted questions so we can catch up, and then we'll probably take some questions live
at the end.
So and then
can hop on.
Yeah, and get on. So let's go ahead and start with the questions we have built up.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
First one of the night. Here we go. Howard says, the Chrome browser on Windows 10 has a user behavior that allows on most pages to press the control key, and spin your mouse spinner wheel to enlarge or reduce a page view. But it does not work on the FamilySearch landscape tree. It just moves it up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
I got a little. Are you sure about that? I always use Control with a plus.
I do. I'm on a Mac, so I do Command plus to make my screen bigger or something.
Go out there. I think it should work, but because that's a browser thing. It's not something that we do. No. I guess it's possible that we can control that, but I don't think so. So let me try that real quick.
Still your password.
Mm-hmm. I had to change it. I may not be able to get in. I had to change it yesterday or the day before. When you do that, it takes me about a month to get the fingers thinking right.
Well, let's be honest.
Go to tree.
It takes us like 3 months to figure out how to write the stupid date right.
Yeah, 2018. Okay, do Command plus and Command minuses. Minus, plus. No, it works fine. Try Command plus. So instead, I don't know what your control mouse thing was doing, but a control plus and a control minus, plus will grow it bigger and minus will grow it smaller. So try that.
Let's see.
There's also a zoom feature over on the left. You can go plus or minus on the left, and it'll bring things bigger or smaller. So
let's see.
Someone's saying.
Oh, what is this genealogy? Yes, Mike. Ron is from FamilySearch.
Oh, we have a new visitor today, huh?
Yeah, he is the product manager of Family Tree. So yeah, we talk about how it works with your computer, questions that they have about.
I take questions about anything FamilySearch because, I'm actually now in the church the product manager for FamilySearch.
Right. But
my primary responsibilities are the tree, memories.
How about you just say what you're not responsible for?
I'm not responsible for logging in and indexing and the logged in homepage that, gives you suggestions.
I think it'd be easier to say what you're not.
That's what I don't do. I do everything else, including temple things and reservations and stuff like that. Okay.
Then Pat wants to know, is the new building in Lehigh mainly a family history center? I thought that you said. Okay, so half the building in Lehigh.
Well, the building in Lehigh is almost all of it FamilySearch engineers. All the FamilySearch engineers, developers are in that building.
Right.
But the first floor, half of the first floor is a dedicated discovery center.
Correct.
So you can, and I think it opens into the month.
January 18th.
January 18th has an open house.
They have an open house for 2 days where you can come
18th and 19th of January to come tour it, and then after that they're a discovery center like the one in Salt Lake.
Right.
It's a little bit smaller than the one in Salt Lake, but it's got all the things that Salt Lake has.
Right.
They're being more efficient in how they're putting it. And they also have a way to convert your VHS tapes to DVD.
Yes.
So that's a new feature they have there.
They
so
have
you can bring a cassette tape and sit and watch your cassette tape. It has to run real time. There's no speed up. Mm-hmm. So they play the tape and convert it into a DVD. So that's kind of a new thing they have.
Cool scanner where you dump a whole stack of pictures and
it just goes. They got the scanner where you put a stack of pictures, put them all through, done, digitized.
Yeah.
So come check it out.
If you're interested in trying that out, you might as well come stop by.
Open house on January 18th and 19th.
18th, 19th,
or 18th, 19th, 20th, and then it's just normal hours for every day.
And then
Saturday, I don't know about Saturday, but probably Saturday too.
Yes, that is the building that Ron works in, and we were actually talking about it on the way in here to this. Yeah. I was like, hey, that'd be kind of nice. Now you can walk downstairs and have real-time market research with people that are in the Discovery Center.
Yeah, and I'll do that from time to time. I've certainly had workers at the Discovery Center already know I'm there.
So if you're there, you might, I'm not going to say for sure because he probably won't be there every day, but you might get to see Ron.
Yeah, if I'm down that way. I'm usually pretty busy on the other floors.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What's next?
So Linda wants to know, on the home page, recommended tasks. It would be nice to be able to choose only the hints versus the temple ordinances available included. As it is, I have to change the preferences to have just the hints show up. However, when working with records themselves, I do want to see the temple ordinances. Can you create a toggle that lets us choose between hints or ordinances?
So send that to me in email. That's there's several people have requested a bunch of customizations on that logged in homepage. That's what it's called. It's the first page you go to that gives you memory, new memories that have come in since you last been. It gives you your opportunities. It gives you your work that can be done in your line. They look up like 7 up and 2 down. And there's been plenty of people that have asked for different customizations, Don't show me the memories or show me more of this or that. And I'll just pass it on to that team. That's one of the pages I'm not responsible for. But the guy that is sits like the cube next to me, so I'll make sure he gets the message.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. She wants to say, thanks. It's nice to have someone answer the LDS specific questions and cut through the standard wordy answers. Also, having an engineer's viewpoint of FamilySearch, how FamilySearch works, helps me have insight into why things work the way they do.
Yeah, it's good to know the model, how the model works. And you put that in your head, you can do just about anything you need to in FamilySearch. You get that.
You can get it in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, another one from Linda. She says, adding an unconnected person. Sometimes it works and the person shows up right after creating them. Other times it does not. There is a feedback thread, unconnected bug about this. Several of us had played with different workarounds, from adding the unconnected person to the wrong tree, then deleting and making the name unique enough to find it in future search. We've tried different browsers, clearing cookies, but cannot come up with any pattern. How do the engineers look?
Well, how old is this one? When was this submitted? You don't have the date.
December 16th. So
I'd like to know if this is still happening. We had some problems. Amazon had some problems that caused issues. But recognize that when you add an unconnected person, it's not in a tree.
Yeah.
Unconnected by its nature means it's a single floater person out there in space.
Right.
And so once it gets created, the way you find it is if it's in your recents list. Or you connect it in, or you create a bookmark. That's what I recommend doing, because recent lists, they fall off, right? Mm-hmm. But a bookmark, you can just make a bookmark in your browser, and then you just go right to that PID. So I'd like to understand so if they could come back and tell me if that's still happening. I'll try it myself. But there was some issues that we were having with the database and some Amazon services that we use that were delaying this work and causing some unexpected loads. So try that again and let me know. You send me an email at ron@FamilySearch.org.
I'll send it to you this week.
Okay.
B Fox wants to know, has the search function on FamilySearch been changed? It used to be when you added a link found to the search records menu box located on the right of the page, you could add a link and then press return to records. And it would take you right back to your search. Now when you press return to records located at the bottom of the page, it brings you back to the record you have just clicked on. And you have to use your computer's back function to get back to the refined search page with all the possible links listed in order. If it has been changed, I don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's been changed. They've been updating the front-end systems to new technology that will help us be more consistent in the interface, so the pop-up person card looks the same everywhere. We have to, currently each team kind of writes their own code and it ends up getting a little funky. And so we're updating to new technology, and as the process of doing that, they're changing things. And this was one several people have brought up. It was all over Get Satisfaction, I noticed, during the holidays. And
because yes, you check your emails on vacation.
Yeah, well, but logically, it's the right thing to do. If you're in a search and then you click and you go to look at the record, and then you click to say make a source, and you got a source window that you got to go look at. When you go done, you should go back to the window you were on before. So what I recommend you do is the following. I'll go look into this, and I'll talk to the guy. He works in my team that does that and help understand exactly why he did that. Because they should be aware, but maybe they're not. And,
so you want me to send
but what you can do, what I recommend is you learn how to use your keyboard functions that are there. Like, for instance, I always, when I'm looking at a search results and I want to look at several things in the search results, I don't click on the thing in the search results and go to that.
You click a new tab.
I click command click or
Right
control left click if I'm using Windows, or a command click, and it opens a new tab for that person. That way I always have my search results right there, and it's in the same position it was when I clicked it. And now I have a new tab in my browser that then I can go do whatever I want to do. When I'm done with it, I can close the tab or I can leave it open. Go back to the prior tab, and there's my search results list scrolled exactly to the right spot, unchanged. And that's what I do because I just think it helps me keep track of what's going on. So I recommend that as something you learn and use to your advantage. For instance, the person card, when you're looking at a bunch of list of people in the tree, maybe a kid or something, you want to look at the kid, but you still want to remember the family. You click on the person, that person card pops up, hold that control button or the command button down and click person, and it'll open a new tab and put that person in that new tab. So, and I still have my family sitting there in another tab. So some tips and tricks you might want to try to help feel less frustrated about the change. And then I'll go dig into why exactly they did that.
Yeah. Okay, Bob wants to know, since the source tracker has been updated recently, after generating a list of records that might be sources and picking one to source and then sourcing it, I can no longer get back to that list of records like we used to be able to do.
That's the same problem. It's the same issue.
It's worded different.
Just worded a little differently.
They also want to tell you thank you for working with all of us and helping us learn more about
thank you. I'm hoping this is useful. You all are saying so. Be sure and tell your friends and neighbors if they have questions about FamilySearch to join us, and we'll answer their questions too.
Yeah. Okay. Jeff wants to know, I have an ordinance reserved by this _ app. I can't contact somebody to get this work done, or can I?
This _ app.
That's like the name of the. Here, let me blow it up for you. I know you can see. Oh, right there.
Oh, the ordinance is reserved by somebody whose contact name is this _ app.
I can't contact someone to get this work done, or can I? FamilySearch missionaries say that I can't.
That you can't contact a person? Why not? You can contact anybody that you can contact anybody who contributes to the tree, and anybody who contributes to memories. You can contact that person. Just click on the contact name, and you'll pop up what we call the contact card. And on the contact card, it shows all of the information that person is willing to share. So they could share their name, they can share their email address, they could share their phone number, they can share their home address.
If they don't share anything.
If they don't share anything, you still see their contact name, and at the bottom of this card is a little icon, looks like a airplane or a paper airplane, and it's called message and send message. You just click on that. It'll pop up a little form, and you just type in a little message that you want to give to them, and you say send, and then we'll send that message to that person. So we know how to get a hold of them because we know their.
Is it time for potty? Have you fed him? And
I fed him. He's probably close.
So that's saying, so thanks. We're gonna go play puzzles.
More puzzles.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, Grandma's doing awesome grandma duties for me tonight.
And Tegan's got a new dog, so it's not quite potty trained. So they're checking to see if it's time to go. Okay, where was I? You click the message button on the contact card that you got by clicking on the name. And then when you get a pop-up, you can enter in the subject. You can enter in any comments you want in there about the person, and then hit send. And then what happens then is that goes in their messages. I'm assuming you should know that you have messages up at the top. There's a little menu item called messages. You can click that, see messages when people send you messages or the messages you've got conversations going on with. And we will send them an email to say, hey, you got messages, come back and answer them, and then they can reply. Obviously, we can't force anybody to reply, but that has been very successful for a lot of people to find relatives and get connected with cousins and stuff by doing that.
Are you allowed to attach things?
There's nothing, you can't attach anything to the message.
Mm-hmm.
But,
maybe it'd be nice to be able to.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're ever going to, I don't know. Well, it'll have if you're sitting on the person that you're interested in, it'll put a link to the PID to that person.
Oh, okay.
If you do it on the person page, then we'll send the PID of the person with it, and then just click the link and go back to that person you're talking about. If you're somewhere else in memories, I don't think it's doing the memory, but it might be doing that URL too. I'd have to look at that.
Okay.
But no, you can't attach anything, but that's okay.
Next question comes from Diane. Wants to know, when will non-members be able to use the consultant planner?
No plans for that right now. However,
is that something that
no, we're not planning on doing it because the consultant planner requires the ability to do helper. And helper is the ability to impersonate another person on the tree, okay. Right? If I help you, then now I'm you as far as the system goes.
Right.
And because of the security protocols dealing with temple ordinances and so forth, we currently have no plans to allow a public user to help a member, an LDS member, because then they would gain access to that sensitive information that we're not allowed to share, or that we're only allowed to share with members. So we're probably not going to have the consultant portal available for public users. However, I just saw a mock-up today where we're looking at one of the advantages. One of the things that the consultant planner does is it allows you to look at a fan chart of opportunities. Like you can get a fan chart and say, well, these people were born in these countries. These ones have hints. These ones have whatever. And I just saw a mock-up today where we're looking at maybe enhancing the fan chart that we currently provide to everybody to include that kind of data. So you could say, show me everybody who has a photo. Show me everybody who has stories. Show me everybody that has sources and stuff like that. So then, or who doesn't, or who were born in different countries. And that's the power of that consultant planner is that fan chart and that data. And then everything else in the fan chart is just essentially the homepage, the opportunities and the hints and stuff like that in your 7 generations, which you get anyway already on your homepage. So we're going to try to give all of the capabilities of the consultant planner to everybody now that we've seen that it's what's useful on the consultant planner. So look for that. We have no date or deadline when we're going to do that. It's just there's a team that's very interested in doing it. They think it'd be interesting. And so we're trying to figure out when they can plan to do that.
Okay. Kathy would like to know, how can a non-member see if people need work without using the consultant?
I don't know what work means.
I'm assuming ordinances.
Non-members can't see ordinances.
So there is no way for them to see it without having a family history consultant help them.
Family history consultant helping them won't know.
Well, unless they went in on their side and
that's right. But I'd have to understand why the non-member cares.
It doesn't.
Yeah, or if work means temple stuff, it may mean they just want to get the consultant planner for.
It doesn't say.
How can a non-member use the consultant planner? Is that the same question?
No, this one. How can a non-member see if people need work without using the consultant? This is why I asked the questions.
I don't know what need works means, so whoever that person is needs
Kathy.
work. Kathy, you need to tell me what you mean by needs work. Does that mean it has hints? Does that mean it's got data problems? That kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things we're looking at, maybe putting in the standard fan chart.
Okay. Sandy Young wants to know, can we add a field under burial that tells you the name of the cemetery? I have found lots of ancestors this way.
There's no need to have another field that shows the cemetery. Just type the cemetery in the field, and as part of the thing. So let me give you how you do that. So if you say burial, so this is burial. And when you do burial, it has date. It has place. And then it has standard. Place. Standard. Okay, when you go and edit any kind of a conclusion that is an event base, it has a date and a place. There are really two fields. Okay, there's a date field and a standard for a standardized date, and there's a place and a standardized, I think we call it location, and then there's a standardized location. Okay. When you start typing a place, let's say you start typing here, Provo, Utah. When it does, a box drops down here with all the list of standardized places, and you can select one. Okay, so to visualize that, as you start typing, this box pops up and shows you standardized places. And if you select one of those, it throws this away and replaces it with the standard one you picked, and puts the standard one also here. So, for instance, if you put Provo, Utah, and I see down here to have Provo, Utah County, Utah, United States, if I select that, then my typing goes away, it's thrown away, replaced by this value, and then the standardized is placed there. Well, I can't put in cemetery. See, you're anxious to select one of these, and it doesn't have a cemetery in there. Well, we're getting more and more cemeteries. So what you do is you start doing this. You start typing the cemetery. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So let's say I put the cemetery, that's C. I start typing the cemetery name, Provo City Cemetery. If we have it in the database, the Provo City Cemetery will pop up here as well. And then you just select it and it fills in the rest of it. If the cemetery is not in the list, that's okay. Just keep typing it out. You'll have to type the whole way. So you'd have to type cemetery name, comma if you want, Provo, comma, Utah, comma, United States. And then down here, it'll pre-fill this in with Provo, Utah, United States. The cemetery's there, and you'd be able to see it and find it. And then another option is to go to, we've talked about this before, go to FamilySearch.org/research/ there's a new place out there called Places, just like there's a dates. There was a dates one, right? Oh, no, it's always been Places, right?
Yeah, it's always been Places.
FamilySearch.org/research/places. And you go in there, and if the cemetery didn't come up in this list, then you know it's not in our database. So you just go into that place, you click feedback, and you type in, hey, you're missing this cemetery in this place. And then the team will take that data, and they'll go research it and get the latitude, longitude, and all that sort of coordinates and put it in the database, and then it'll be there. So there's no need for an additional field. Just put it all in there. You could put plot. What I do sometimes is plot, 27B, cemetery this town, this city, this county, this state in the United States. And just fill it all in, and it'll be there. Now, searching in if the cemetery is in the standard, then the search, when you go into search, find people, then it has to be the standard. But at least the cemetery is not lost. And when we get that cemetery in there, we can go through and standardize it and throw it into the standards.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, here's the last question we have on the form, and then we're going to go to live questions.
Okay.
This is from Brian, who wants to know, I have a question about how to document branches of your tree verified by DNA. How would you do that now, and have you thought about enhancements in the future? For example, if I have taken the Y-DNA test, use that to verify about 10 generations of my tree, because I closely matched my Y-DNA to another former descendant man that was born in 1620.
Well, what I recommend doing right now for DNA is creating a source. You can create a source manually.
Okay.
Just go in there and say add source. You can do it in your source box. Why are you interrupting us? So you put it in our source. You can do it in your source box and then attach it to multiple people if you want. But oh, that's very nice. When did you do that?
Just a moment ago.
I ordered it for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Gracias.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, that's Jarrett.
You remember me? I'm the one that looks like him.
He hasn't been on for a while because he works until 7.
7:30. No, 7, and then it takes him 30 minutes to get home.
Yeah, so
Thank
by the
you.
time we start, he's not here yet.
Yeah.
So it's been me. Sorry.
Anyway, what I would do is I go create a source. You can create it in your source box. You can create it on each person. If you create it on the source box, you can attach it to multiple people if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Realize that if you attach the same source to multiple people and you edit the source, it edits for every place of that, right? Because it's just a link to it. And I just go create a DNA source and say, Y chromosome verification with this family, and put in there why you believe it's correct, and then attach that DNA source to that person. You may want to put, a little bit in the notes, maybe a reason statement for the relationship or something like that, where it says verified by DNA evidence. Go see this source titled this. That's what I do right now. We are looking, we're looking and examining. We looked at DNA years ago and decided that we needed to wait a little while, and we're re-examining where DNA needs to play with FamilySearch. And but we have, we're in the very early, discussion stages. So. But anyway, that's what I do right now. And the DNA can have a URL, so you can. Well, I don't know if you can't really. You're the only one that can see your DNA in another site, so the URL probably wouldn't be worth it. I just put information in there that you use as your proof.
Okay. So we're caught up on questions.
What is the stuff called?
These are ones that they've asked while we've been live in the past.
Oh,
and we've answered.
And these are not, and the one I've never seen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have out there on Facebook?
We're gonna go live for the last 30-ish minutes.
Yeah, 20-something minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes. So what questions do you have?
What questions do you guys have that you would like us to answer? I'm gonna come. I know a couple of you have asked questions, so I'm gonna come over here and kind of take a peek at them. Let's see. A few years ago, the policy was that if a member died without ordinances being done, the church would do them after a 5-year period. Is that policy still in place, or is it now replaced with asking permission?
I'm not aware of the 5-year thing. It's all, as far as I know, and I'm only talking the last 10 years, 10, 11 years. Okay. It's the 110-year rule. It used to be a 95-year rule. Now it's a 110-year rule. The person has to be at least 110 years old. And if they're 110 years old or less, then you have to ask permission from a close living relative. Outside of that, members or people that have died, you can take them to the temple within 1 year of their death.
But you need to ask permission from a family member?
Absolutely, unless you're the family member.
Okay.
If you have a son that died or something, you can take that son to the temple on 1 year anniversary. You don't have to ask for permission. The system automatically detects your whether or not you are a close living relative, and if you are, then it doesn't ask you for the close living relative. You just get to reserve it. If you're not a close living relative, then and it's less than 110 years old, then we put a form in there. You can click request, and we make you fill out a form that then is reviewed by support personnel, admins that look it over and verify you're related, and But it's usually fairly quickly. I mean, my wife, we found a infant child who needed a sealing parent, and all of the living descendants of that family were dead. And we provided evidence for that and showed in the tree when they died and had the certificates on them and stuff. So within about 15 minutes, she had the reservation on her list. So.
Okay. I have found many hamlets, villages, and cities in Germany that are listed twice in a standardized location list. once in the state of Hessen and
Yeah.
once in the state of Prussia.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the ones in Prussia are invalid. Is there any way for me to ask to have it cleaned up?
Well, you may be surprised because, and you can certainly go to that FamilySearch.org/research/places, go to feedback. But what I would do first is go to that place, FamilySearch.org, research/places.
Yeah.
Enter in the place, look at the data it shows there, because there may have been a period in time in history. Well, we imagine this assignment from this. I always laugh about this. I tell people, this is your job. We hire somebody, they come in. You're going to work on standardized places. Okay. Your job is to put into the database every place that's existed since the Garden of Eden. Go. So that's like an impossible task, right?
I'm going to die doing that.
That's right. But the team, they've been working dutifully for over 10 years on that database, and they're constantly improving and adding stuff. And so if you go back in gazetteers and stuff, you might be surprised that there was some period in time for a period of years where it was actually under Prussia. And if you go to that place and look it up, it'll give you all of that history and time spans when it was in different parents, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll all be in there. You'll see it for the place. So go check it out. If you still feel like it's wrong, then send feedback, and then they can take a second look. And we do have errors now and then. So
You are human.
yeah.
All right. Before New Family Search, the church did work for deceased members after 5 years if no one did that.
No, the church has never done that.
Oh, okay.
The church never has done ordinances for anybody. The church will never do ordinances for anybody just because they died.
Okay.
Anything that's put in family. Let me say this: anything that's put in the family tree.
Yeah.
The only way it gets to the church to do ordinance for that person is either one, you reserve it and you print the card and you go to the temple, or two, you share it with the temple and then we'll do it. But we don't comb information in the tree, and anybody that's been dead 5 years, we send it off to the temple. We do not do that. Mm-hmm. Now, we have had in the past what we call extraction. And extraction, what we do for extraction is we wanted to make sure we had sufficient ordinances for all the temples to function. And so what we did is we'd go get obscure areas of the world. Hungary was our last one, a few other places, and we get a record set of people that were well in the 200 years old kind of stuff. So there was no problem with any of them being alive kind of thing. And then we would extract it through an indexing process done by specific individuals who were asked to be extracting people. And then we would put those in the temple list as necessary ordinances should we run out. Mm. And that we haven't really done much extraction ordinances in years. There's enough people doing family history and submitting names to the temple that the temple's got plenty of ordinances to do. So that we don't automatically send anybody to the temple anymore. Period.
Okay.
Forever, as far as I know.
I have been looking at Family Search library at some unindexed records. There are multiple parishes in each film, and so I am starting to make an image index of the different parishes. Is there any way that I can share that with Family Search Family Tree so that others do not have to hunt the way that I do?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they're working on a system to be able to do that, and there is a process to do that. I don't exactly know where, but if you have your spreadsheet or whatever you have that has that index, if you want to email it to me at ron@familysearch.org, I'll get it to the guys over in the indexing system and see if they could use it. I'm sure they want it. There's lots of people contribute. I can't exactly remember the URL where you go to submit that stuff. So if you'll just send it to me or send me an email and say, hey, where do I send it? I'll ask them and then reply to you where you can go to deliver that data.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Sorry, I gotta scroll a little bit. Can I have a list of names that I've entered that are listed as living? Sometimes I find a person in the census and I need to do more research to determine if they are still alive or have passed.
Yeah, that's so. Just recently, we've asked another team to take over responsibility for the recents list,
Okay.
or for the lists. There was a list section, and that list section shows you stuff like people you were watching, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have in their plans the desire to provide several kinds of lists for you, like give me a list of everybody in my private area, which would be all your living.
Right.
So they have that in the plans. I don't recall any dates on that stuff right now, but it is something we're considering. We think it's important for you to know all the living that's in your place. Plus, some people, they add unconnected people that are living because they don't want to lose that research, but then you can't find them because you don't remember the PID or something.
Mm-hmm.
We want to provide a list so you can see here's everybody in your private area, and then you could just click on them. We show you the names. You click on them and go to that person in the tree.
Okay.
So yeah, but stay tuned for that. I don't know. It's unclear when.
It's coming sometime before the end of the vault.
That's right. Shortly before, probably,
Maybe.
or after.
Or after, maybe. I don't know.
But it's on our list. The team wants to do that. We've talked about being able to see all the living people in your private area as a list. And that's something we can do as a list because it's somewhat limited. There are people that have thousands of living in their tree, which is perfectly fine.
Big families.
Yeah, they put in a lot of descendants and stuff like that, keeping track of all their clan.
Okay. One line in my family is marked as confidential. They were all born in the same country, and I cannot merge them or see ordinance dates, etc. What is the reason for confidentiality?
I don't know about the merge part. So there's two kinds of sort of confidential. I don't know where you're getting that word. So there's only two things inside the tree, inside the dead space that's publicly viewable.
Mm-hmm.
There's either hidden, which you wouldn't even know they exist.
Right.
We do that occasionally when things are inappropriately placed in there, and we sometimes hide and sometimes we delete. Depends on the circumstances. And there's locked. So if these are locked, then what that means is at some point in the past, they've either been deemed as a famous person or a person of historical significance that we don't want everybody mucking with. But also in the past, there's been a lot of abuse of the locking back in the old early days of New FamilySearch. And I'm still working with support to finalize the list of people we're actually going to lock, and then everybody else gets unlocked. And we haven't finalized that list yet.
So I'm guessing. So
it would be great if you send me one or two of these PIDs that you're talking about. Now, the other way that it could be, quote, confidential would be, you said they're from a particular country. So there are a set of countries where there may be dangerous consequences for Christians if it's discovered that they are providing temple ordinances for countrymen in those particular countries, for families in those countries. And in order to protect the users of FamilySearch, we take those people when they're entered in, and we make them private, which means only you can see them. Now, what did she say? But you can't edit them.
You can't merge or see the ordinance.
Yeah, you can't merge if these are ones that get the banner that says they're private or confidential. That's probably where it's from. So these are ones from a country that we have deemed as there are concerns of potential risks to you if some of that information gets out. So we automatically make it private to you. And if there's copies of the person, duplicate copies in your private area, you can't merge right now. But we are working on fixing that so that you can merge people inside of your living area, because there's going to be cases where you may have actually two copies of the same living person, and you want to merge them together. So we actually are working on that one. And and you can't see the ordinance information because of privacy. So we're also working on changing that as well. Although that's a little further out, we've got some highly sensitive situations that we have to figure out how to solve before we can do that. But in the meantime, you can contact support about any of these PIDs and say, are there ordinances done? And if they aren't, I want to do them. And then they'll look and see if there's ordinances done. If there's done, they'll tell you that they're done. If they're not done, then they'll reserve them for you and put them on your reservation lists. So that's the path you take right now. It's not very pleasant. It's kind of a little uncomfortable. It's kind of messy. It's yucky. But that's the path you have to go down right now. But rest assured, we're working to resolve that problem. That's exactly the reason why we went to the private areas, so that we can open up this and you can see the ordinances and you can reserve them, print cards, and do just like what everybody else does in the normal area, the dead area that's public, viewable. So that's the reason why we did these private spaces, so we could provide that capability to you. And we're working on it, and you know,
it's going to come.
It's going to come. Yeah, I know, but I can't commit. But I'm fairly confident it'll be sometime this year, because there's plenty of interest in not only our department, but in the general authorities.
I was going to say upper management.
Yeah, the upper management are very interested in us to have a better experience for people who have ancestors in these sensitive countries where we're trying to protect their identity.
Right.
Okay.
Why does the consultant planner account summary screen still show an obituaries link? But when you click the link, you just get to scroll through headstone by headstone one at a time.
I don't know. I have to look at that.
I don't know.
You have to scroll through.
John will have to look at
the
that.
Obituaries is, I think those links, their links are to a couple of things. One, they show you hints, or they show you campaigns.
Oh, okay.
And if you click the obituary, I think that's an obituary campaign. So it's really showing you all of the campaigns that person has been sent, so that you know, as a consultant, as you're looking at the person and saying, well, you know, they've been receiving these obituary campaigns, but they haven't done anything with them. Or it allows you to be informed of what campaigns the person has been given and emailed about, so that you have more knowledge about what they've received, and maybe help them. Because you may see an obituary in there that they probably didn't know what to do with and just deleted the email, that then you can go and have a consultant one-on-one experience with them to help them understand what to do when they get one of these obituary things.
Sorry, I'm taking notes because people ask for show notes, so I'm trying to get all of our questions.
What we're trying to do now is we take these videos and we post them in YouTube, but we have no description next to them.
Well, a good chunk of them do.
Yeah, but Tegan here has been tracking all of the questions that we've answered each time. And so she's going to go back and add the questions that we answered into the notes for each of the YouTube videos. Yeah. So then you just scan for the questions, and they'll be in order that we answer them. So you know that, you know, if you're at a question after the one you're interested in, you got to back up. If you're not there yet, you keep going forward, because we answer them in the order that they come in, and that's the list you'll put in.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeff wants to know, will a baptized member have the temple ordinances done for them after death?
If a family member chooses to do so.
Okay.
So you're saying a member gets baptized but never went to the temple, is what I'm assuming there, and they die. And usually when that happens, the family wants to take and do those temple ordinances 1 year after their death.
Right.
But if there's no family around, then eventually what will happen is they'll become 110 years old, and cousins will go up and down the ascendancy and find them and do those temple ordinances.
Okay. The mouse throws me off every time. Oh, what did I do?
You're making it grow. You're making the font on your other thing smaller. So I think maybe you need to click the live side. Isn't that what you did to make the others shrink?
No, I just want to scroll.
No, you didn't. You had your mouse over the live area. You were clicking, I thought.
No.
Can you even read that thing?
Yes, I can read it.
My gosh.
Betty says the extraction process has really helped with her Norwegian line. So like that one guy that was looking through the unindexed stuff. So
yeah, good.
we're glad that helped. David says, last week I added a few books to my catalog print list so that when I'm at Roots Tech I can look at these materials. However, when I logged in this week, my print list was empty. Did I do something wrong, or is this not designed to preserve your list?
Yeah, what do you mean by print list?
I'm
not sure I know what that is.
David, tell us what your print list is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that feature. So I assume it's in the catalog. In the catalog, you wanted to have some metadata about the catalog entry printed. It seems like you should just be able to print it right there on a printer. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. Mm-hmm. So send me that question. This will be posted on the video.
I can put that question on there.
No. Pull it off and send it to me in an email.
Oh, okay.
I'll go find out what that feature is.
Okay. So neat to listen to this from Modesto, California. We're glad that you're with us. Yep. Sandy, hello. So we got about 9 minutes left. If there's any more questions you guys want to ask, I'm more than happy to.
Otherwise, I'll just go start rambling.
Don't let him do that. You're a hardcore rambler.
So a reminder about Roots Tech.
Yep.
Be sure and register and come say hi. And I think I'm presenting Thursday and Friday.
You are presenting Thursday and Friday.
And love to have you there if you come.
Mm-hmm.
Answer your questions. I usually spend, it's an hour for the presentation. They usually stick me before lunch. I can't remember if I'm before or after lunch.
I don't know.
And then I usually hang around for about an hour to answer other questions. So, or I go to the booth occasionally and answer questions. I hope everybody's familiar with, if you're coming to Roots Tech, you're going to want to install your Family Tree mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
There's some interesting things we're going to try to do. You'll read about it and hear about it when you get there at Roots Tech. If you do Relatives Around Me, I don't know how many of you have tried Relatives Around Me. I recommend you do it. It's lots of fun to do. If you're doing it for a class like youth or something, don't have them do it until the end because, the last 15 minutes. Because once they see that, it just you can't get them back. They're gone.
Yeah.
And what Relatives Around Me do on the Family Tree app is if there's multiple people that go into Relatives Around Me, then we actually connect you to people within 100 feet and show you their name, and then you can click and see how you're related to that person. And it tells you, we've even been experimenting with telling you like your first cousin 3 times removed kind of thing on the screen. And it's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun. So we're kind of thinking about doing that at a grand scale. We're thinking about maybe when you walk into the Salt Palace and Salt Lake at the Roots Tech convention, that you can opt in and you can find any relative anywhere at Roots Tech. What do you think about that?
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So if there's 6,000 people at Roots Tech and let's say 4,000 of them opt in to allow people to find out that they're related, then you could just sit and click their names and see how you're related. And we've added the capability to send a message to them. So you can say, hey, meet me by room whatever in an hour. And let's visit and stuff like that. So we think that'll be fun and kind of interesting. So, if you're planning on coming to Roots Tech or you hear somebody coming to Roots Tech, encourage them to install the Family Tree app so they can have that great experience there and feel connected. Family history has that power to be able to feel like you belong. Mm-hmm. You belong with somebody.
Gives you a space.
Gives you a place, a place in the tree of humankind. So.
Okay, Robert wrote back about the print list.
Okay.
In the catalog, after you look something up, you're allowed to print the entry or put the item in your print list.
Okay.
So he'll go check it out. We'll let you know what we
find. I'll go check it out too. Yeah, I didn't know
that. Denise wants to know, what is the status of impedance efforts? Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading the question.
Yeah, we're still talking, but we have several ideas. I think some of them I've expressed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like we want to look at when you merge, we want to put some more detailed information in there in the merge. Say stuff like, hey, this person's birthday is more than 5 years apart. So their location where they were born is more than 20 miles different. And in that time frame, people only traveled an average of 3 miles, and so those kinds of things to sort of slow people down, sort of think about the merging. I also want to make it so that the person who survives is the one that has the most rich data or has been in the system the longest. It has the longest change history. Because it's unsatisfactory, somebody put in a brand new person, merge duplicate with it, and there's no change history. It's all hidden underneath the deleted person. So that's some more impedance things. We're talking about trying to it's just tough. We're researching ways for people to say they like maybe. I think this conclusion is correct. I think this conclusion is correct. I don't think this one's correct. Be able to do that for each of the conclusions, and then we'll show that score that says 80% of the people say this is the correct conclusion, and 80% of the people say this one's wrong, and so we recommend you go look for some evidence to correct it. So anyway, I can't remember them all, but we have a list of about 10 things, and it's on the team that I have. The guy that I have in charge of keeping track of impedance features and getting them on the roadmap is the guy who does Family Tree client web interface. Okay. So he's pretty passionate about it because his stuff's been messed up too, and just like all of us, and so he's very interested in slowing things down. The interesting thing is I get yelled at a lot because people don't like the fact that we're slowing them down. They actually feel like, I don't have enough time in the day. You need to make it so it's quicker and faster, and I can do 15 things at once. And I'm going, well, there's a reason we slow it down, so you can stop and think and read and slow down. So anyway.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
The obituaries campaign apparently was terminated.
Yes.
So now that the link in the consulted content has been replaced with a link to headstones, but the link is still called obituaries. Oh,
okay. That's a labeling problem.
Okay, so
yes, I can take it off. Take that out and send that email on that.
So his question says, what determines when a campaign gets terminated, and why aren't we notified of comings and goings of campaigns? No. I guess we just haven't ever bothered to notify anybody until people when this campaign's off. Because campaigns are, they're hit and miss things. What we do campaigns, and campaigns are just say, find some interesting information about your family and send you an email to say, hey, come learn something interesting. It's about trying to keep you interested in family history and keep coming back and so forth. And we analyze all of our campaigns. We do lots of campaigns every week, 4 or 5 different kind of campaigns. And when we find a campaign that really isn't very successful, let's say we say here's the obituaries campaign, and we find out that, we send out 4 million emails and like 20 people came and looked at it or something, then there's no reason to keep spending the effort to keep trying to do that. And so that they fade away, and we just don't do them anymore because they haven't been successful. It might be interesting, and there has been questions on people to say, is this campaign still around or not? Mm-hmm. So that might be a good email to send me to, and I can suggest to that group, this is one of the ones this is the home team that does that does the home page. And I can suggest to them that they put a blog up that lists, here's the current active campaigns, and here's retired campaigns. Okay. So that at least you could go there and see what's going on. Yeah. Okay. Lisa says, when correcting dates and location to be standardized, it appears that a green standard line can be clicked to standardize, but this does not standardize the date or location. Why is the green standard field there if it has not been standardized yet?
It's usually yellow if it's not standardized. So the green means a standard place has been picked. You should still be able to click the thing that's in there, like the name, the place, and it should bring you the standardized list. and then you could pick a different one if you want. But green usually is a signal that there is a standardized place already chosen for that entry. Yellow is one that says there's none chosen, and yeah, you could just click the yellow button that says pick a standard. It'll give you the set of things that we think is standardized, and you just pick one and it'll change green. So maybe there's a confusion there on the color. You should be able to, like, go back to let's go to my thing. And let's just go to one of these, like mine. It's okay for me.
Your face is jumbo.
And then do person.
It fills up the whole space.
Yeah. And then let's go to my birth. And click on the birth. And click at it. And then click one of those green ones. Click the like El Paso. Yeah, when the green bar is there, you click it and it'll just do a drop-down set of all of the matching standardized places. And the particular one I have, since it's a standardized place already, it only gave me one choice because it had El Paso. I was born in El Paso, so it had the full thing about El Paso. So there was only one match in the database. So clicking the green gives you the set of standards that you can choose from.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I think we're finished, huh? What time is it?
Oh, let's see. Lisa is saying.
Oh, to answer Lisa's.
The other Lisa, she's saying there needs to be a space between the end of the field that is to be standardized and the cursor.
No.
No.
I mean, I get you what you're saying. Okay, so what people are saying is, remember there's these two fields? There's the one you type in, and then down here's the standard. If there's data in here and there's no standard, you do not, what people think, and this is incorrect, this was old New Family Search that did it this way. In order to change the standard, you had to run up here and put a space in and then delete it and then hit save, and it would fill it in. That was old New Family Search that had it to do that way. You don't have to do that anymore. If you have a place here and this looks right, but there's no standard down here, this should be yellow, and you just select on no. I think it says no standard here. And you just click that. It'll be a drop-down list of all the standards. You pick the one you want, and it fills in this box and doesn't change this at all. Okay. Now, if you want to change this one, meaning it only says Paris, Texas, and you want to say Paris, Texas, United States, whatever, then yeah, you can put a space in there. All you have to do is edit something, and when you change something, we'll bring up this same list. But if you're only changing the standard, you just have to click here and pick one of these, and you're done. You don't have to go put a space in and then delete it. That's just a big mess if you do that. Just go down and click on the...
That seems like a lot of work.
That's too much work.
Okay, so I guess that's it for us tonight.
Yeah.
Roots Tech is like a month and a half away. Have you done your presentation?
Yes, I updated it today. The Roots Tech Nazis got a hold of me and forced me to a meeting for an hour and said, Ron, you got to finish this. Here's some parts you're missing. And I said, okay, I'll fix it. And they sent it to me, and I told them I'd get it done in an hour. And 2 hours later, I got it back to them.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So
we're still waiting to hear if we can record live. I'll let you know if that is a possibility. I'll be there with him. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. And this year I'm hoping to take my tripod and my iPad and setting it up so that they can see the screen and you at the same time, since I did it on my phone last time and it was a little hard to like shift back and forth. So we're going to be better this year. Our next live is on the 11th of
January
this
11th.
month. So not next week, right? No. Yeah, not next week, but the week after. The 18th. Sorry, we're on the 18th. I can get my notes straight one of these days. The days blur together.
Oh, the night of the open house. The beginning of the open house of the Discovery Center.
Yeah. We're still also working on a date for when we can go and do a live at
at the building?
The building, and let you guys meet some of the other engineers and designers that help make Family Tree.
Yeah.
So once we get that figured out, we'll let you guys know. That will most likely be during the daytime instead of the evening, since we don't want to make anybody have to stay past 5. They need to go home to their families too. So.
Well, thank you for spending time with us. Hope this continues to be useful.
Yeah.
Please remember that you can submit questions anytime during the week. Whenever you get one that goes, I got to ask Ron, then just go right over there to Family History Ron, enter it in the form, and we'll have the list there so we can answer all your questions.
Yep.
The more questions, the merrier. I like to answer everybody's questions and not just start blabbing about stuff that I want to talk about. So thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Appreciate
Have a good night, and we'll see you in 2
2 weeks. All right.
Okay, see ya.